I'm Ann Wardwell, Chair of the Newcomers Committee, and I'm delighted to welcome you to the last of our 2021 interviews of new residents. This is going to be our last interview, of course, for the year, but we're going to continue this next year because due to popular appeal. And our next interview is going to be in February. I want to thank, as always, the members of this committee because they work really hard for these interviews. Sharon Furrow, Randy Wagner, and Priscilla Steinberg. And I also want to thank Joyce Benjamin and Bruce Richards for putting this KOTV production on. So with that, I'll turn this over to our interviewer, Priscilla Steinberg.
Thanks, Ann. And this is a very special event today, and I'm hoping that most of our residents are watching. I'm going to count on the fact that they're watching. So right now, I would like to give you the pleasure of meeting our interviewees, that Mr. and Mrs. Kringle. And I think they're absolutely delightful. And I know you don't know them at all, but you're going to know them by the end of this interview. So can we begin, my friends?
Please do.
Well, I want to ask you, as we ask all our new people, where are you from originally?
Well, originally I was born in Greece in the early 5th century, but I've traveled a great deal, and so have many Scandinavian, European, British, and American influences. Over the years, I've had many names, and we actually prefer to be known as the Kringles. And Santa Claus is more of a calling, sort of like, Winnie the Pooh. I married Mrs. Kringle, or Claus, in Philadelphia around the mid-19th century.
I'm the subordinate clause. I was born in the North. I prefer not to say when. I stayed quietly at home until I met him, and then everything changed.
Well, that's very interesting. I know we could probably spend a whole program on the history of your past, but we don't have that much time. We'll do it another year. I want to know what you did before you came to Kendal.
Well, I was and actually still am into toy design, manufacturing, and delivery.
And I handled the publicity and the baking. The publicity is really quite easy. The baking, not so much, considering the elves.
Oh, that's very, very interesting. Now, is Kendal your full-time residence right now?
More or less. We still travel extensively, at least once a year.
I mean, we do need to keep an eye on the toy department and on behaviors worldwide.
Well, that must take a lot of time. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, are you going to be away overnight on December 24th?
Yes, definitely. I'll need to be in American Samoa by 6 a.m. our time on the 24th. And I won't finish my deliveries until about the same time on the 25th in Tonga.
Oh.
Then I can come home to Kendal. I'll need to average close to 1,000 miles an hour east to west just to keep up with my delivery schedule. And that doesn't count all the north-south excursions and stops. It's pretty exhausting, 24-hour workday.
I supply the coffee and cookies for him, except for what the little children leave out. He gets to eat those too. And food for the reindeer, yes.
Oh my. Well, I need to ask you this question, which you might not know about, but when you have to quarantine after this risky behavior, would Santa think that he has not actually spent the night away?
Well, it's true that I'll be in a lot of homes, but I won't actually be visiting with many folks. I just kind of drop in, so to speak. After that trip, though, I'll be so tired that I might as well lie low for a few days anyway.
He might not get a lot of sleep, though.
Well, I do understand that you have pet reindeer. And I want to know, are they registered with our Pet Matters Committee? And was there any issue with having 8 of them at Kendal?
9, actually, if you count Rudolph.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they'll live with us in our cottage as tiny reindeer. We'll keep them on a secluded shelf when we're here.
They won't be any trouble at all. They're quite clean, but please don't mention them to the pet committee or to Barbara. They might not understand.
The reindeer can resume full size when we take them back up to the North Pole.
Well, do you feed them? This is my own question here. I want to know.
Oh, yes, but they don't eat much. There's plenty to eat around here.
I mean, as tiny reindeer, one slice of Mrs. Kringle's toast goes quite a long way.
Yes, yes. And you know, we have, well, the Dining Matters Committee helps us out sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's sort of sub rosa kind of thing.
Well, tell me, what adjustments did you ask maintenance to do to ensure your rooftop integrity? I mean, that's a heavy load.
Well, given our tiny traveling size, remember we are an elf and 8 tiny reindeer. Rooftop integrity is really never an issue. Now, the lack of proper chimneys and fireplaces, however, is a definite nuisance. I won't mention how I have to enter many homes through available rooftop vents.
You may think you have raccoons.
Oh, that's something to think about, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Well, Mrs. Claus,
Yes.
I'm addressing this to you. I understand that you enjoy baking cookies all the time. Do you have recipes you could share with us for your favorite cookies? Our Dining Matters Committee would really like to know as well.
Oh, yes. Well, actually, my favorite is fudge brownies, and they're real easy to make. You melt 1 stick of butter with 3 ounces of dark chocolate, add 1 cup of sugar, 2 eggs, a teaspoon of vanilla, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Then you stir in 1/2 cup of flour and a cup of chocolate chips, and you bake them in a foil-lined pan for 20 to 25 minutes at 350.
Let us know when you've made them and we'll be right over.
Yeah, I hope you share. Mr. Claus, Mr. Kringle, I don't know if I'm addressing you the right way.
Both work.
Either is fine.
Okay, well, who at Kendal is on your naughty list?
They know,
They know.
naughty or nice.
And so does himself. You all know.
That's a hard one. So is our wood shop equipped to meet your toy construction needs?
Well, the toy design and manufacturing facilities will stay at the North Pole, but I might tinker a bit with some ideas while we're here.
He's got a small workshop in our spare bathroom.
Well, you just mentioned the North Pole for the first time, and you do spend time up there then.
Yes, we
Yeah.
go visit the manufacturing facilities up there.
I see. Well, were you going to have the elves as overnight guests, or where do they go?
Oh, no. They stay at the North Pole for them. I mean, elves are an unruly lot.
Good workers, though.
I mean, there's a reason why we keep them at the North Pole.
we'll rely on the internet and other communications to keep connected, and I'll occasionally visit the North Pole to make sure manufacturing's on schedule.
And I go up with him and do major baking up there to keep them all fed and happy.
I'm really impressed.
I bring brownies back.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, yeah, just remember my name.
I know, we know where you live, Priscilla.
I know.
And we know if you've been naughty or nice.
So when we do these interviews, which you have been too busy to watch all year long, the one question we ask people is, what have you found out about Kendal that really surprised you?
Well, we knew the people, staff and residents, were friendly and mostly good people. But we are delighted with the range of experiences and expertise shared within the community. We figure over 27,000 years of cumulative life experience here, all freely given. It puts my 1,700 years into perspective.
Yes, that's I'd say that's
Very interesting. And the other thing we always ask is there anything else you would like to tell this very interesting and attentive audience that you haven't mentioned or that we haven't asked? Is there anything else in your wide travels or your workshop time?
Well, we're very glad to be here, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
and to all a good night.
Well, you are just wonderful. You were just wonderful interviewees. I want to thank everybody watching on KOTV. And remember what we always ask the people in our resident audience, to invite the new people for a meal, lunch or dinner, because they're really exhausted at the end of this time and they need some social time. And I thank you so much for being so kind and thoughtful and cooperative. But I would also like to give a special thank you to Joyce and Barb Benjamin and Elizabeth Hole for more or less coming up with today's introduction, and to Bruce Richards, who has put us on KOTV, not knowing who he was going to see. So I really appreciate everybody for coming, and we could keep on going if you had anything more to say.
I just want to say thank you to the same people that you just thanked, as well as to everybody who is watching today. And I wish you all the very best for the weeks to come.
Thank you, and we wish the same for you, Kringles. I love your name. Yeah.
It sounds like a cookie, doesn't it?
Yeah. There is such a thing, I do think. Thank you all very, very much. And thank you to my audience that has been very, very curious about you. And I hope they learned a lot this afternoon, and we hope you'll come back another time.
We'll be here.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.